Time travel is complicated. After all, if it was simple and straightforward, then everyone would do it. Sure, on paper it sounds pretty easy to just take a quick jaunt back to 1890, kill baby Adolf, and avert World War II. Millions of lives saved before lunch, and surely the world would be all the better for it, right? But what if altering history didn't change the future, or the present as you knew it? Perhaps instead, you unknowingly created a new alternate timeline, branching off from the history you knew into somewhere different. Maybe in this new timeline, where you traveled back in time and killed Hitler, someone even worse rises to power and assumes control of Germany, before plunging the world into an even deadlier war. And even that is just one possible outcome of your singular action, only fitting in with one scientific theory of how the mechanics of time travel might work, with no certainty that it actually would happen like that. Like we said, time travel is nowhere near as easy as it seems in movies with flying DeLoreans and cyborg assassins who always seem to keep coming back. Keeping all that in mind, these big, perplexing questions about time travel and alternate timelines is the perfect segue into the focus of today's video. Introducing SCP-1780, which is, brace yourselves, a plastic nameplate. You know, the official business-like kind that you might find displayed on a desk in a fancy office. Wait, that's it? All that talk of world ending and the disruption of multiple dimensional timelines is from this thing? You're probably wondering what on infinite Earths this trivial piece of office stationery could possibly have to do with the notion of time travel. And we can tell you that the connection will likely surprise you. SCP-1780 itself appears pretty unassuming at first, showing signs of aging and damage from being buried for several decades. The first interesting detail of note, however, is that nameplates of this exact style were used in the offices of the SCP Foundation itself, from the year 1990 all the way up as recently as 2003. SCP-1780 sports the Foundation's emblem, and the lettering on it is still legible despite the wear and tear. While the name is redacted, the rest of it reads PhD Chairperson, Temporal Anomalies Department. Okay, so what could be so important about a nameplate? Are the Foundation running so low on anomalies that they have to lock up a harmless piece of plastic from one of their very own offices? Not quite. You see, you have already missed the second most interesting detail about this particular nameplate. Not only does the redacted name not match any previous or existing staff member on their database, but the SCP Foundation has never even had a Temporal Anomalies Department. Not in this timeline, anyway. As for a harmless nameplate, SCP-1780 is certainly anything but that. Of course, the nameplate itself does remain inactive if left alone, but when it is placed into a mount of appropriate size, then, well, it's not exactly easy to explain what happens, but we'll try our best, seeing as we're SCP explained after all. Placing SCP-1780 into a nameplate mount causes a temporal spatial anomaly to appear in the nearest doorway. This anomaly is known as SCP-1780-1, and according to high-speed photographs taken by the SCP Foundation, it appears instantly, so fast that its speed can hardly be measured. Foundation researchers are flummoxed as to exactly how this anomaly appears as well, unable to quantify what it is made of or what forms it. What they do know is that whatever space was originally behind the doorway now containing SCP-1780-1 is now inaccessible through the use of said door. However, whichever room was once behind the doorway can still be accessed by going around the door, either by destroying the adjacent walls or using another entrance. The door that now contains SCP-1780-1 will remain indestructible and cannot be accessed while the 1780 nameplate is activated. So, SCP-1780-1, this temporal spatial anomaly, what exactly is it? Once again, that is a question without an easy answer. The best way to describe it would be to imagine it as a portal. A portal leading where exactly? Venturing through a doorway now hosting SCP-1780-1, one will find themselves in an office. In fact, this office is an exact match to one found inside the Euclid Objects Experimentation Wing of Site-17, one of the SCP Foundation's top-secret containment facilities where they store a number of dangerous anomalies. The state of the SCP-1780-1 office varies between visits, with signs of misuse, neglect, and general disrepair. However, the interior of this office always contains the same items. Namely, there is standard office furniture, the same type and style as those purchased by the SCP Foundation during the renovation of Site-17 in 1995. There are also a number of whiteboards around the office, all with text and complex mathematical equations written on them. The room also contains a loaded Remington Model 870 shotgun, a copy of Oxford's Unabridged English Dictionary, and 3 copies of Time Life's Great Ages of Man, a history of the world's cultures, though strangely, only one of these copies matches the history of the world we know. Finally, there is another nameplate inside the office, a second instance of SCP-1780, complete with a nameplate bracket to hold it. What does this all mean? Is SCP-1780 capable of opening and closing portals to just this single office? And where or when is the SCP-1780-1 office? Is it a pocket dimension? A place in the future? According to tests run by the SCP Foundation, the multiple SCP-1780 nameplates can be used to create several simultaneous SCP-1780-1 portals. Through the use of GPS tracking and other redacted methods, the Foundation's researchers have been able to determine that when there are multiple instances of SCP-1780-1 doorways, they will lead to the same office in the same physical space. However, the different portals will be separated by an unknown interval of time. So, the leading theory is this: the office, SCP-1780-1, is somehow temporally displaced. It does not exist within its proper place in the linear timeline, and could instead be located somewhere outside time. Anything left inside the office space, like personal effects or even members of Foundation personnel that get left behind, will vanish if the portal is closed and reopened. As long as the doorway remains open, SCP-1780-1 will behave in harmony with the normal flow of time as we experience it. But from the moment it closes, anyone left inside the office is considered irretrievable. But that isn't all. Around 1 in every 10 times that SCP-1780 is used to open the portal into the office, SCP-1780-1 will contain something else. Not just the items that usually appear in the office, but people. Well, that might be a bit of a stretch. They are humanoids at least, shaped like people. Referred to as SCP-1780-2, these entities vary dramatically in their appearance and behavior. There is, nevertheless, one consistency to them. They will all always claim to be personnel working for the SCP Foundation. Some of the SCP-1780-2 have alleged themselves to be Site-17 security staff, assigned to guard SCP-1780. These entities are usually passive and cooperative when existing Foundation security interacts with them. Others have made the assertion that they are field agents or researchers assigned to an unknown project. According to them, this project is focused on dealing with temporal anomalies. These SCP-1780-2s tend to behave drastically differently and are often far more unpredictable. In some cases, they have even been hostile towards Foundation personnel and have even self-terminated when efforts have been made to contain them. The third and final type of SCP-1780-2 entity seems to be singularly unique, even with its own designation. SCP-1780-2A. This entity refers to itself by the name Dr. Thaddeus Zynak, and when questioned by the Foundation, will refuse to give any information at all. A number of times personnel have asked this Dr. Zynak about his origins, the goals of his research, even where or when he came from, and every time he hasn't told them anything of use. SCP-1780-2A cannot be captured either, and seems to have an in-depth first-hand knowledge of the Foundation. He is able to predict all their containment tactics for hostile humanoids, and has used this foresight to evade any attempt to capture him for further questioning. Right now, there are probably a million questions popping into your head. Is the SCP-1780-1 office part of a branching timeline? Are the entities within Foundation agents from an alternate history, trapped and displaced in time? Well, some of the answers we may never know, but some might be found in SCP-1780-3, the name given to a document that has often also been found within the SCP-1780-1 office space. Much like the rest of the furniture and stationery inside SCP-1780-1, this document seems to be from the SCP Foundation itself, printed on their letterhead from around 1998. The author of this document appears to have been SCP-1780-2A, Dr. Thaddeus Zynak himself. Somehow, either as an intentional booby trap or as some sort of side effect from the temporal displacement of the office, SCP-1780-3 has anomalous properties on the reverse side of the paper. After being accidentally exposed to this effect, a Foundation agent disappeared and was presumed dead, only to reappear within the office space 14 years later as an instance of SCP-1780-2, appearing to have not physically changed one bit in all that time. As for the contents of the SCP-1780-3 document, it appears to be an introductory letter and orientation materials composed by Dr. Thaddeus Zynak and intended for the special project team investigating temporal anomalies. Anyone that reads the full document has suffered the same fate as the other agent, disappearing through unknown means. However, the Foundation has kept a hard copy of the document in storage, with the reverse obscured to prevent its anomalous effect. An excerpt of Dr. Zynak's letter is also kept on file, available to read to those who hold adequate security clearance. In this letter, Dr. Zynak explains that there are, in fact, multiple different timelines. According to him, of all the timelines to exist, many have their own version of the SCP Foundation or another similar organization. But only a few of these other alternate foundations have a specific department dedicated to studying time-based anomalies. That is why there is no Temporal Anomalies Department in the SCP Foundation as we know it. It could be possible that Dr. Thaddeus Zynak and all the other SCP-1780-2s are staff from a different version of the Foundation that exists on a different timeline. The letter continues, as Dr. Zynak claims that everything you know about temporal dynamics is fundamentally flawed. Despite what even I might tell you, paradoxes do exist. Loosely defined, a temporal paradox is any situation arising from an interpretation in an ordered sequence of events, which requires that two contradictory outcomes be held as true by the universe simultaneously. That sounds awfully verbose and complicated, but what he means is, a time paradox occurs when something disrupts the flow of a timeline. This then effectively splits the timeline into two streams, creating a pair of similar yet slightly different timelines that continue to flow parallel with each other. You see, we experience time as a single path, a straight line. Now imagine that path in front of you had multiple other paths branching off of it. Whichever way you choose to walk, a different choice means you might have ended up walking on another branch path that is similar, but will always be separate, distinct, and different. Dr. Zynak then goes on to outline the mission statement of his Temporal Anomalies Department. Their goal is, in essence, to safeguard and protect these various timelines. They hope to ensure that the events that led to the existence of their department, their version of the SCP Foundation, and even humanity as a whole, must always happen as recorded by history, from a base of operations that is temporally isolated, existing outside time. Dr. Zynak and the Temporal Anomalies Department intend to keep the history of human civilization consistent and prevent any and all possible future threats that might bring about the end of the world as we know it. So there we have it, SCP-1780, an unassuming nameplate that opens a portal to an office outside of time itself, an office belonging to a Foundation department that doesn't exist in this timeline, but whose mission is to protect ours and every other branching path of possibilities. Like we said before, time travel, it's pretty complicated. Now go check out SCP-5000-Y, the full story compilation, and SCP-5545 Mysterious Tunnels in Antarctica Abnormality for more mind-bending anomalies from the SCP Foundation.